Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, my name is Bonita. Here we talk about all the things that we love as it relates to lifestyle and luxury. So today I needed to pop on and do a video that was on my list. I've been putting it off because I wanted to just kind of decide what direction I wanted to go with this video. People have been asking me over on Instagram, how do I self-authenticate pre-loved items, in particular bags? We're gonna definitely have to split it up into kind of like a series, and I do have a pre-loved playlist here on my channel, so I will link it either down below or in the cards. And it has all of my pre-loved videos, like how to shop pre-loved, where I shop pre-loved. So I probably would add these videos there. Well, before we get started, if you're new here, welcome. Again, my name is Bonita, and we do luxury videos over on this channel. Wednesdays are usually a luxe video, and then Fridays we do what we call a Fast Five Friday. If you're into like luxury research, reviews, updates, and just overall luxury information, I think you would like it here. So like, subscribe, and share. Comment also before you leave. But we're gonna go ahead and get started on this video. Well, right off the bat, this video is not gonna be too long because I'm sitting on the floor and my legs already hurting. So anyway, I have my handy dandy notebook. So if you see me looking down, I'm just trying to get all the info for you guys. And when you are shopping pre-loved and you've decided that you want to buy pre-loved, you always want to authenticate the item. Even if, whether it be self-authentication or you use a third party, you definitely want to authenticate the item, because it would suck if you did all the research, you're looking for a hard to find vintage discontinued item, and you finally find it and then come to find out it's fake. That would absolutely suck. So authentication of the pre-loved item is definitely a must. Even though this video is about self-authentication, I'm going to go ahead and list down below the third-party companies that I use when I authenticate a pre-loved item. The one that I use more times than not is Real Authentication, and they have a good website. They have a little app. I mean, they're really good with responding. So as it relates to authenticating a luxury item, you know, you just need to know that the people who do this professionally, they've learned how to do this in probably some of the ways that I'm going to talk about today. I mean, there's no, unless you work for like Fashion File or The Real, like there's no degree or license that you get for authenticating luxury items. It's just doing it over and over again and being trusted in your community. So not to take away from any of the companies who do this professionally, or someone that's how they earn their living. They are a professional authenticator. It's your job to authenticate pre-loved luxury items or whatever you authenticate. You know, it's just whatever the standard is in that community, you reach that standard and then you're considered an authenticator. So again, not to take away from people who do this, but I just want you guys to know that you can do it too. And the reason why I say that is because I am of the belief that if you're going to be shopping pre-loved, sorry guys, I'm doing laundry, it's Saturday. If you're going to be shopping pre-loved, you need to be, as a consumer, you need to be the first person who knows how to authenticate. Before you spend your money on the item, before you pay someone to look at it for you, you really need to be the one who knows how to self-authenticate. And when you are the self-authenticator, you don't have to be so high level. If you really can train your eye for luxury pre-loved items or whatever it is, that's pretty much all you need. Now, is this something that comes overnight? No. People who do this for a living, they've taken the time to learn how to do this. So you're going to have to do that too. You're going to have to take the time and invest some time in your spare time and pretty much learn how to do it. You got to make mistakes along the way. I've made mistakes, but that's how you learn. You have to, again, you have to train your eye. So of course, you already know what number one is, right? You got to do the research. But in particular, drilling down the research, when I said, okay, Bonita, I'm going to train myself how to self-authenticate, I picked one brand, to focus on at a time. And of course, you know, the first brand that I picked was Louis Vuitton because that's my favorite luxury brand. So I picked Louis Vuitton to kind of hone in on and really train my eye for LV pieces so that I can self-authenticate. Right now, currently, I'm working on Chanel. Did a video and you may be able to see it back behind me. One of my recent Chanel purchases, I'm giving that bag to my mom because I'm just not so well versed in Chanel in general. So I'm doing a lot of research on Chanel because I'm gonna be buying pre-loved Chanel. I need to know, you know, what I'm getting myself into. Okay, so number one, you got to research the brand. We're going to drill that down. But the key is whatever brand you want to start with, just focus in on one brand at a time. Now, if you're a superhuman and you can keep everything straight, go for it. But for me, I'm not. I had to drill in and I want to be good at it. Because if you're not new to my channel, you know I say this all the time. I am not about wasting the money. So, like everything else in life, I had to put in the work to make sure that I'm pretty good at what I do. Okay, so drilling down the research, the first thing you want to do, you want to take time and learn the history of the brand. That's the boring stuff, but you really want to take time to know when the brand started. Did they start as a trunk maker? Did they start in, you know, as an equestrian line? You want to go back the 200, 300 years and find all the information you can about the brand. YouTube is a great place to start. Another thing that you want to drill down when you're doing your research is what does this brand do on every single bag that they produce? What is the one or two things that they do on every single bag that they produce? For Louis Vuitton, it's the tag, you know, Louis Vuitton, Paris, made in, blah, 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 blah. That's one of the things that they do. It's changing now recently, but we know that's one of the things, especially if you're going to look at vintage LV, that's one of the things that they have done over the years on absolutely every single bag or item or whatever. Another place that you want to go to is go to the company website and look at the company. Go all the way down to the bottom and look at the corporate information. I do that on all the brands. You're going to see some similarities, especially if you're shopping Louis Vuitton. You know that they own what Celine, Dior, Fenty, the LVMH line, Moet, they own those things. So you want to just kind of know that as well. Another thing you want to know as it relates to research is find out where they manufacture their items, like what country. If it's France, what city in France. Find out where they manufacture their items. Very important. Why? Because if you get a vintage bag and it says Louis Vuitton made in Hawaii, well, we can safely assume that that's a fake because that's just not where they manufacture. They manufacture in the U.S., but it doesn't specifically say Louis Vuitton made in Texas. It doesn't specifically say on that label. This to me that I've found over the years that is very important is you want to know specifically what type of hardware the brand uses on their items. Hardware is more important than date codes. That's why the date codes are going away. Because the replicas, the super replicas that we have today, they have totally mastered date codes. They have mastered it. And the brands absolutely have realized that. They've realized that a lot of these replicas have made their way into the boutiques and have made it to the shelves. People have returned them saying, oh, I don't like this bag, and did a switcheroo, and they keep the real bag and they return the fake bag, and no one is none the wiser. I mean, people who work for the brand is none the wiser. They've realized that community have definitely mastered the date code and the authenticity card game. Chanel has moved away from them. Louis Vuitton has moved away from them, and they're gone. They're going away. And even though you need to know about date codes, especially if you're buying vintage and from before, you need to know about date codes, but hardware is more important than date codes. And here's why. Over the years, companies change depending upon what's going on in the world. Are there canvas shortages? Are there gold shortages, silver shortages, whatever? They change how they manufacture their bags. And they always start with the easiest thing to change, and they always start with where they can save a good amount of money. And hardware is the easiest, and they can save a good amount of money in hardware. Chanel in particular, everybody wants the vintage Chanel with the 24 plated hardware. Chanel doesn't do that anymore because it got probably really expensive over the years to do that, and trying not to maybe sacrifice the overall quality of the bag, they just started doing away with that. Louis Vuitton, a lot of their hardware is no longer like the full complete brass. Some of it is hard plastic, or I don't want to use the word plastic, but I mean it is. I don't know what else to say. It's like, it's plastic. It's in the plastic family, but harder plastic. They put like the gold tone over it. And drilling down the hardware even further are zippers. Zippers are very important. You can determine if this bag is authentic based on a zipper. It's known that replicators, they want to do it quick to get it out there to get the money. So sometimes they drop the ball on the small details. If a zipper is frayed, if the zipper feels cheap. Now, I know a lot of people said that a couple of Chanel items, they use plastic like pull tabs on their zippers and plastic zippers, but what type of plastic? You see a zipper that's like the stitching doesn't match the material on the side of the zipper, it's probably a replica. It probably is. Even though these fashion houses are trying to save money on the hardware, they're still going to do it nicely. So again, hardware is more important than date codes. If you get tripped up on date codes, and since date codes are going away, spend your time trying to master the hardware of these bags. All right, moving along. I think we beat that dead horse. The second thing that I suggest, if you're trying to self-authenticate, you need to have like a new or close to new item in your possession. So if you purchased a newer pre-loved, let's just say Louis Vuitton bag, try to have one in your possession that you already bought, maybe from the boutique or something, that you can kind of compare along the same time frame, that you can kind of compare. Another thing that kind of piggybacks on this point, I tell people a lot, I just don't suggest that you start buying Louis Vuitton or Preloved or whatever if you don't already have luxury items in your collection. If you're just starting your luxury collection, I just personally don't suggest that you start Preloved. I just don't. I think, or vintage, I just don't. Unless you feel like you've already mastered the research and you feel like you can. But I just don't suggest that, because I just see more times than not that people start out buying a Preloved without already have like a newer or a new Louis Vuitton item or whatever item in their collection, and they get duped more times than not. Okay, another thing that you want to probably try to do if you're learning how to self-authenticate is absolutely try to visit your boutique often. And often doesn't mean like every day. Like, I don't know, the closest boutique that I have is 3 hours away. So often for me would be like once or twice a year. I have the Saks that's about 20 minutes away from me, but in that Saks, they don't have a Louis Vuitton boutique. So I go there for other things like Gucci, Dior. I go there for other things, YSL. But when I want to visit Louis Vuitton, it's about 3 hours away. And then if I go to DC, that's about 5 hours away. So you see, nothing close. When I was trying to up my game on, being a Louis Vuitton, a self-authenticator, I visited probably about 2 to 3 times a year just to visit. And the reason why you want to try to visit the boutique is you want to go ahead and handle the items. We all know that Louis Vuitton has changed their canvas. It's thinner now than it used to be. It's more squishy than it used to be. So you want to be able to feel the items, feel the vachetta if you can. Take a tape measure. You're like, I'm one of those psychos. I'm in there measuring, even though they tell you when they go to the website and you can see what the measurements are. So I have my little tape measure and I go ahead and measure the bag, you know, in centimeters and inches. I go ahead and measure. Put your things in. Feel the bag. See what it looks like on you. All of that. I mean, it helps you so you can really get to know the brand. It is so important. I can't tell you how many times I've had conversation with people, and this is what happened to me before too. You think you know that it's real. You see it, it's a good price. You look at all the pictures. The seller, you know, isn't a shady seller. You get the bag in your possession, but then you hold it and feel it, and you're like, something's not right. If you do not know what a authentic Louis Vuitton item feels like already, you're gonna get duped every single time. Now moving on to my final point, and there's other things, but we just can't make this video too long. But I try to pick out, again, some of the things that I think are really, really important. You're really gonna have to build a relationship with an SA. You just are. Whatever brand that you are honing in on, you're going to have to build the relationship with an SA. Because a true SA to the brand, they're going to feed you the information. They love their brand. Like, I have 2 SAs that I work with. Lillian, I will link her down below. She loves the brand. She has done really well in her career at Louis Vuitton. Anything I want to know about the brand and the bag, she enjoys talking about it. She gives us her personal opinions about the bag. She's already done the research, so I take what she gives me to apply it to what I'm looking for. And then there's Tyffani. She is in San Francisco. I think she's in Bloomingdale. She has a heavy Instagram following, and I will link her down below. If I can't find it through Lillian, or if I can't get the information I need from Lillian, which is very rare, I always contact Tyffani, and between the two, they give me what I need. It's very important, not only for purchasing new items, for purchasing pre-loved, because especially if this SA has been there a long time, they're going to remember those older bags. They're going to say, oh yeah, you know, we no longer do date codes and blah, blah, blah. They're going to give you the information about the brand that you need. So guys, that is the basics. Some of the things that I have done and do as it relates to learning how to self-authenticate pre-loved luxury items. This video could be probably 2 to 3 hours. Hopefully I've shed some light to help you self-authenticate. The biggest thing is you definitely can do it. Just see if you can do it first. See if you can do your due diligence. Again guys, I hope you like this video, and I will see you in the next one.